So as I mentioned earlier, everyone will get a copy of the recording by the end of the week. So good afternoon or good morning for some of you. Welcome to Training Bites. If you have any questions about menu codes during today's session, just enter them in the chat. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. My name is Gina Thomas. I'm the training manager at C&K and the hostess of Training Bites, a digestible approach to counterpoint training. And before we get started, I want to remind everyone that October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so do your part and be cyber smart. And follow us on social media for weekly tips and tricks about being cybersecurity aware. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram using @CK Retail Systems. So I've noticed when I work with clients that sometimes it seems to me that everyone in the organization has open access to all areas of Counterpoint. In other words, everyone is like a system administrator, which means they have quite a bit of power in Counterpoint. I also notice that clients sometimes struggle to locate all the daily reports they want to run because some reports might be under point of sale, some reports might be under inventory, some reports might be under sales history. So that's a little frustrating. I think it's very important to limit access to certain areas of Counterpoint that might be sensitive because you want to be secure. And I also think it's important not to waste time looking for your daily reports. So that brings me to menu codes. We're going to learn about menu codes and how to limit or expand permissions. I'm going to teach you how to create custom buttons and also show you how you can link buttons inside a counterpoint to external programs like Excel. So just some basics in relationships. Simply put, a menu code represents a group of people. Menu codes are tied to system security codes, and system security codes are tied to user records. And if you decide to make a new group or new menu code, you must create a corresponding system security code. And I'll show you how to do all of this today. So just to kind of give you some visuals before we jump into the software and get started. Under Setup System Security Codes, which are your global settings, that refer to security outside of point of sale, you'll notice that here in System Security Codes, I have a menu code. And this menu code is what allows certain groups to see certain things. Now, in Setup System Users, if I come down here to this part of the user record where it says System Security, the System Security code is going to, again, link back to the menu code. In Setup System Menu Codes, when you call up one of your menu codes, you see a screen that typically looks like this. So the right-hand side has the default menu. These are the buttons that came with your Counterpoint install. And the custom menu is what you can design. If you need to remove folders or items from the custom menu, it's easy. You can right-click and click on delete, or you can press delete on your keyboard after highlighting the folder or the menu. You can add folders or items from the default menu to the custom menu simply by holding down your left click on the folder or item in the default menu, sliding your mouse over to the left, and dropping it in the custom menu. You can also rename buttons. For example, if tickets is not intuitive and you want to call that button point of sale, you certainly can do that through a menu code as well. You can actually create new buttons, and this is going to refer to corralling your daily reports under one local button. And to create a new button, it's pretty easy. You go to the bottom of the screen, you click on New, and you click on Folder. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also link external programs to Counterpoint so that within Counterpoint, if you want to have a button to link to Excel, that might save you a little bit of time instead of minimizing Counterpoint and calling up Excel. So that being said, let's jump into the software and take a look at these things. So I'm going to start with just the visual on menu codes, linking to security codes, linking to the user record. So I'm going to go to Setup, System, menu codes. I'm going to come into this lookup here so you can see my groups. So I only have 4 groups. You may have less, you may have more, just depending on the size of your organization. The way I constructed my menu codes is my sysadmin is the most powerful, followed by back office, followed by manager, followed by point of sale. Now to see the link to security codes, setup, system, security codes. And I'm going to go into my security code lookup, and you're going to notice that my security codes share the same name as my menu codes. I do that for consistency purposes, but you don't have to do that. Now, when I select one of my security codes, you can see it's linked to the menu code. And again, if I work backwards, here's my menu codes. I click on edit, and it brings me to my menu editor, which is where I can grant or expand or limit restrictions. Okay, now the system security code ties to the user. So if I go to Setup, System, Users, and I'm just going to find myself in here, or just type my name. So you can see down here, my system security, the security code is sysadmin, and I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to click on this lookup. Here's my system security codes. I'm going to click on Edit, and then we can see the system security code ties to the menu code. Pretty easy. Okay, so next I'm going to go to menu codes, and we're going to look at a couple of different groups and their power, what they can see and what they can't see. I have to tell you something I really like about menu codes, and my motto about menu codes is if you can't see it, you can't do it. So if you can't see the button, you can't perform the task. So I'm going to come here to menu codes, and I'm just going to pull up my sysadmin menu code first, and I'm going to go to menu editor. And you can see that my sysadmin group has access to everything in Counterpoint and a little bit more than what's in the default menu because I created some custom buttons. Now I'm going to contrast that with my POS group. So let's find POS. There they are. Go to the menu editor. Now, big difference here. In my custom menu, my point of sale group only has access to point of sale activities, system, loyalty programs, and customers. So not access to everything. Now, if I'm looking at this and I say, why does my POS group have access to loyalty programs and what within loyalty programs do they have access to? I can click on this plus sign and I can see they're allowed to adjust points. And I might say, that just doesn't seem very good that somebody that belongs to the point of sale group can just go adjust loyalty points on a customer record. So you know what? I'm removing that from the point of sale group. So I click on loyalty programs. I can either right click and delete or press delete on my keyboard. Then if I open up this customer menu here, it looks like they have quite a bit of access to some of these customer tasks. And gee, why utilities? If they have access to utilities for customers, they can purge customers, merge customers, renumber customers, and that's just not a good idea. So in order to get rid of an item within the folder, it's the same process. You right click and delete, or just press delete on your keyboard. When you delete a folder or an item, it doesn't go into deep space and disappear forever. You can always recall it from the default menu. So if I deleted the loyalty program from the POS group and a month later I change my mind, I can just come back here to customers and I can come to loyalty programs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my left click and I'm going to drag my mouse left. And you'll notice I just can't drop it anywhere because of that circle with the slash. But if I come up here to custom menu, the circle with the slash leaves, and now I just let go of my left click. If I want to change the position of this folder, it's just Control up arrow. Now let's say I want to change the name of something. For example, instead of it saying tickets here, I want it to say point of sale. It's as easy as highlighting the folder that you want to change the name for, coming over here to menu caption, and just typing point of sale. And you can just copy that down to the button caption. And there you go. Now it says point of sale instead of tickets. Here's another one. This is batch processing. Now that's not very intuitive. What is batch processing? Well, I know batch processing is a way to manage customer orders, special orders, and back orders in bulk. But to the point of sale group, they might look at that button and not know what it means. So I could actually change this to process orders. And that has much more meaning. It makes much more sense. Okay, so now it says process order instead of batch. I like my point of sale people, after they're done posting, to run a series of reports so that I can look at them in the morning. But right now, when I go into point of sale and I open up drawers, I can see there's a drawer reading here, and that's, a pre-posting type of report. If I open this point of sale, I can see, there's touchscreen and the edit list, but I don't see any daily reports. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to collapse everything. I'm going to keep point of sale highlighted. I'm going to come down to new folder. And now I have a new folder. And I'm just going to call this folder daily reports. Now the next thing I'm going to do is come over to the default menu and drag the reports that I want run daily. So something that I like run daily is after posting, I like to see a ticket history report. So I just open the report folder under point of sale, and I'm going to go to history, and I'm going to go to ticket history. And again, I'm going to hold down my left click and drag it right over here to daily reports. I also like to see a drawer history. So I'm going to left click, drag, drop. I also like to see a flash sale report. Now, flash sales live under sales history. So I'm going to come here to sales history, reports, and I'm going to find my flash sales report, and I'm going to drag it over. So easy, easy, easy to create custom buttons and corral frequently used activities or reports under one local area. Let me show you something else that's cool about menu codes. You can link report parameters to a report, and here's what I mean by that. Save my changes, yes. Save again, yes. So one of my favorite reports to run is sales analysis by group, which is under sales history, reports, and sales analysis by group. Now, once I come to sales analysis by group, there's a lot more clicking I need to do. I need to go to options, I need to go to load parameters, I need to pick the parameter, click on load, and then from there I can change dates, filter, and run the report. Through a menu code, I can link that parameter, sales by item, for this particular report, directly to an icon so that when I click on that icon, I don't have to do options, load, choose, load. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to Setup, System, Menu Codes. I'm going to find my POS because we're going to give POS people access to this. I'm going to go to the Menu Editor. I'm going to open up my point of sale folder, and I'm going to add sales analysis by group to the daily reports. So I'm just going to go over here to sales history. I'm going to go to reports, and I'm going to go to sales analysis by group and drop it in the daily reports folder. Now I'm going to rename this sales by item because I'm going to attach it to that particular parameter. Now I'm going to come down to the bottom here where it says report parameters. So any saved report parameters you have are going to appear in this window. And I'm going to choose sales by item and then OK. And now I'm going to show you the end result of this because it's pretty cool. So I'm going to exit from here. And I'm going to save. and exit. And I'm going to exit Counterpoint and sign in as a point of sale user, somebody that belongs to that point of sale menu code or group. So my point of sale person is Dana. So now you can see the only buttons Dana sees are the loyalty program button, the point of sale button, the system, the customer button. When I click on point of sale and I go to my daily reports, here's that sales by item report from the sales analysis by group. And you'll notice when it loads, I won't have to go to options, load parameters, choose the parameter. It just automatically loads it. So all I have to do at this point is maybe change date ranges and maybe filter. Another thing you can do with the menu codes is prohibit the ability of somebody to minimize a window. For example, if I go to point of sale and I go to touchscreen and I'll sign in as Dana. Oh, and I already took care of this one. Let me go to another one. Let's go to customers and customers. So when I go to customers, customers, see how I have this dash? So I can actually minimize this and work in other areas of the program. And then before you know it, I have 60 million windows open. And there's a bit of a weirdness in Counterpoint in Windows 10 about not being able to see all those open windows when you hover on the taskbar. So you might encounter problems posting or updating records. So I'm going to prohibit my point of sale group from minimizing customers. And you can do this for pretty much any module. Obviously, I did the one for point of sale earlier. I'll show you how I did that so you know how. So I need to sign back in as myself. Okay, so I'm going to go back to setup, system, menu codes, and I'm going to find my POS menu code, or just type it in. Now, by default, when you go into point of sale and you go to touchscreen, it's set to something called, if you look down here in presentation, it's set to non-modal, which means give this group the ability to minimize this particular item. So if you set it to modal, it'll take away that ability to minimize that screen. So if I come here to customers, and I set this to modal, now my point of sale group will not be able to minimize the customer windows. And I'm just going to switch over to my sysadmin menu and set a couple things to modal. And I'm just going to go to inventory and adjustments. Okay, so this is already set to modal because I said it earlier. I've picked up a lot of support tickets lately where somebody calls in and they say, I created some adjustments or I created some receivings. And when I go to post them, I get this weird message about another user is working in this batch. And it literally means somebody else is in that module with an open window, or the person that logged the support ticket minimized the window, and now Counterpoint thinks that it's being accessed twice. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to go to inventory and adjustments, and inventory adjustments, enter. And I'm just going to pick something to adjust real quick. And I'm just going to save it. Okay. And now I'm going to minimize it. And now I take a break. And I did several more adjustments. I come back from my break and I say, I got to post those adjustments. So I click on adjustments post. It says, are you sure? Yes, I am. Uh-oh, somebody else is working on this batch. Literally, somebody else is either has inventory adjustments enter open on their computer and minimized and they don't see it, Or, like you see in my example, it's me. I created the adjustment, I minimized it, and now I can't post. And again, because of this weirdness with either Windows 10 or Counterpoint, uh, when you hover on your taskbar, you can't see those open windows. And actually, because we're using this Ring Central, I can't even bring up my taskbar. So I'm going to close Counterpoint and restart it. And that's usually the solution. You know, if you can't see the minimized window and you're getting that message, just close Counterpoint, restart it. And if it's not you, have everyone else in the organization close Counterpoint and restart. So I'm going to come back to Inventory Adjustments, Post. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Boom, there we go. So that's making, um, so now I want to make sure that the system administrator group cannot minimize those inventory adjustments because, you know, we're wasting time logging support tickets. So I'm going to go to Setup, System, Menu Codes. I'm going to find sysadmin and go to the menu editor. And I'm going to go to Inventory and Adjustments, Enter, and I'm going to make it modal. And I'm going to close and let you see the end result. Save. So inventory adjustments and enter. Let's pick an item. And I'm going to save. And now notice I can't minimize this. So I cannot go and work in other areas of Counterpoint without completely exiting this screen. So I'm just going to press my escape key. So another cool thing you can do with menu codes, as I mentioned earlier, is you can link external programs like Excel through the menu codes. So I'm just going to go to menu codes. I'm going to find my sysadmin again. I'm going to go to menu editor. All right, and I already have Excel here, but I'm going to show you how to add it from scratch. So I'm going to click up here on my custom menu. I'm going to come down to New, Folder. I'm going to highlight the folder and give it a name. I'll just call it Excel2. And now I need to add an item to the folder because it's the item that is going to link to Excel. So I come down here to New, Menu Item. Going to give it a name. Now when I add that new menu item, see how it has an X on it? And it's because the X is on there because I haven't linked this menu item to the Excel executable yet. Your command type should be external program. And then on the command line, you're going to use the ellipsis here, and you're going to browse to that executable. So I'm going to go to my C drive. I'm going to go to Program Files. I'm going to go to Microsoft Office. I'm going to go to Office 15. And now I'm going to scroll down and find excel.exe. I'm just going to highlight on that and click Open. And now my menu item doesn't have an X on it anymore because it's actually linked to Excel. And now that I have Excel as a button in Counterpoint, I don't have to minimize Counterpoint in order to run Excel. So you'll notice I go down here to the left. There's my Excel button right there. And here's my menu item right here. And there you go, launches Excel. So it saved a little bit of time. Once in a while I get questions about, well, actually this happened a couple of weeks ago. Hey Gina, I have people that just come in and stock merchandise. They don't use Counterpoint, but I would like them to be able to clock in and clock out throughout Counterpoint. I don't want them having access to anything, point of sale, receiving. I just want them to have the ability to change their password and to clock in and clock out. So you need to make a menu code and a corresponding security code. So I'm going to go to Setup, System, Menu Codes, and I'm just going to free type what I want to call this group. Stock Now I'm going to press my enter key. I'm going to copy from an existing menu code because it's going to save me some work. So I'm going to copy from, and I'm going to copy from POS because they have the fewest buttons. So I'm going to click OK. Go ahead and give a description. I'm going to go into my menu editor. I'm going to strip out what I don't need. I don't need the loyalty program. I don't need point of sale. I don't need customers. And if I open up the system folder, they don't need the message center and they don't need views. They just need the ability to change their password. Now I'm going to go to the default menu and get time cards. So here it is right here. I'm just going to hold down my left click, drag up here to customer menu, and drop it there. Now within time cards, I don't want this group to have the ability to modify or update their time punches. That really is for a manager to do. So I'm going to get rid of that. They don't need to run any time card reports. They don't need to export time cards, and they certainly don't need to purge time cards. Now that I've made the menu code, I have to make a corresponding security code. So I'm going to go to Setup, System, Security Code. And again, I'm going to free type what I want to call the security code, and I'm going to make it match my menu code. Press my Enter key. Now I'm going to just copy from another group. Again, it's just going to save me time. I'm going to copy from POS, change my description, and then I'm going to link this to the menu code for the stocking people. Okay. Now I'm going to come to time cards, and I'm going to say, they're allowed to do time cards, show them their status, prompt them when they log in, and prompt them to clock out when they log out. Now I'm going to attach the security code to a user. So setup, system, users, and let's create a new user. I'll create a new user called named Mark. And I'll just copy from a POS person real quick. We'll copy from Dana. And I need a first and last name. Now I'm going to come down here to the system security code, use my lookup, and choose Stalker. Now, because I copied from an existing user who is allowed to ring sales and access point of sale, over here on the right, all of these switches populated. So it says here that Mark's a point of sale user, he's a point of sale manager, he's an order management user. It doesn't matter. He has no access to point of sale. So even though I have these tasks enabled and it looks like he's got a little bit of power, because he can't get into point of sale, he can't do any of these activities. So I'm just going to save my changes. Don't need that. I'm going to exit, and I'm going to restart Counterpoint and sign in as Mark. Oh, see, he's getting prompt to clock in. Yes, I do want to clock in. And then look at his Counterpoint main menu. He can literally change his password when it expires, or before it expires if he knows when it's going to expire, and he can clock in and clock out. And the nice thing about clock in and clock out in Counterpoint is Counterpoint is clever enough to remember your ins and your outs. So if I click on this right now and I type in Mark's name, you can see clock in is disabled because Counterpoint already knows Mark clocked in. And the only thing Mark can do at this point is clock out. And now he's clocked out. And that is menu codes. Very powerful. And let's go ahead and minimize this. Come back to my PowerPoint presentation. And from current slide. Okay, so your key takeaways today. You should know how to limit or expand access in Counterpoint. by adding folders, removing folders, adding menu items, removing menu items. You should know how to create a custom button, like to corral your daily reports in one place, and how to link buttons to external programs, like I did with Excel, but this could apply to Microsoft Word as well. I really appreciate your feedback and your suggestions. This topic about menu codes actually came from a suggestion. So when you get your survey, be sure, if you fill it out, give me some feedback. And if you have any suggestions, be sure and include those in the survey. Or you can go directly to our website to fill out the survey, www.cksystem.com/training bites survey. Now, next month, I've got a really exciting topic. This will be on November the 4th, first Wednesday of the month, same time, 10 Eastern Time, 1 Eastern Time, and a repeat session. We're going to talk about bills of material and sales kits. And let me tell you what's great about bills of material and sales kits. You can take existing product and make a new product with either one of these, like a gift basket or a patio set or a floral arrangement. The only difference between the two is bills of material will not allow your customers to make substitutions at point of sale. Sales kits will allow substitutions. So it'd be a really great session to attend. And also remember, if you can't attend, sign up anyway, because if you sign up, you'll get a copy of the recording. Okay, so with that being said, let's see what questions we have. Okay. Yes, we are sending you a copy of this, Rodney. You'll get it by the end of the week. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. And I don't see any other questions. Here we go. With reports, export to Excel, I normally have to select data, only to limit columns from CP. With the way you set it on the menus, can you default it to data only? That's a good question, Mike. So you're saying I have the screen preview, I go to my export, and one of my choices is Excel or Excel data only. Unfortunately, that can't be set to default to that. But that was a very good question. Any other questions? All right, everyone, thanks for your time. Hopefully, I'll see you on November the 4th. And again, I really appreciate you joining me for Training Bites on the first Wednesday of the month. Have a fabulous afternoon. Take care.